Yeah, stop that. We're going? Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Series National Cup Day hosted by the Australian Business Students Association. ABSA is the leading representative network for Australian business students, fostering skill set acquisition, development, and industry connectivity. My name is Matthew Vickery, and I'm the president for the 2020 year, and I'm joined today by Anastasia Cowell, the vice president, and we are very excited to be kicking off today.
After months of preparation, we have finally made it to the finale with an outstanding array of teams competing today. Each of the teams represent one of ABSA's member societies, including ANU's Actuarial Finance, Economics and Commerce Society, Adelaide's Business Students Society, Sydney University Business Society, University of Queensland Business Association.
There's a few.
There's a few.
You get them, it's all right.
And Tasmanian University Business Association, Business and Economic Society, sorry, who are also co-hosts of these series.
Yep. And today we just want to thank all the corporate representatives who have been supporting this event, particularly the Sydney Startup Hub, who are our venue sponsor. Right now, though, we'll turn the camera over to the judges. They will give a quick introduction into who they are.
Testing 1, 2, hi. Great, it's all working. Hi everybody. I'm a last-minute stand-in judge. Lucky me. But no, it's great for me to take part. I'm one of the directors of ABSA, Australian Business Students Association. I've been working with these guys for a couple of years now. I do have a day job. I work at Suncorp. I'm a program director at Suncorp. Yeah, it's great to be here, especially in person, and I'm seeing real people, not just pixels in Zoom. So that's fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some amazing ideas. I know I've had some exposure to a couple of the ideas, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how they've kind of taken shape and form over the last few weeks. So good luck to everybody, and congratulations for taking part. And it's going to be a great event. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Fraser McLennan-Pike from Ernst & Young, and I run our innovation labs globally. I was a founder of EY Wavespace, which is our global network of innovation hubs. We've got about 40 around the world, including one in Sydney. EY is delighted to sponsor this event. Congratulations to everybody on making it this far. Good luck today. We're really looking forward to hearing the pitches. We're looking forward to doing the judging, and then hopefully, proud to put up a prize for one of the lucky winners. So we're looking forward to today, and let's get it on.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter Brown. I'm a pitch coach with experience going back to 2012 working with startup founders and business executives, helping them to define and deliver their messages to their audiences. And I've had the pleasure of working with a number of you a week or two ago, I think, was it, Matt?
Yeah.
When we did a pitching session, and wow, the energy that you guys have and the ideas that you guys have and the passion and commitment to change the world quite simply in small ways with big impact is just brilliant for somebody in my mature years to see people who are taking the world into brave new frontiers. I've got great respect and admiration for you kids, and looking forward to seeing your efforts today.
Thank you, judges. We look forward to seeing you in action soon. With that being said, let's introduce our first team, who's come all the way from Canberra, Sway Aquaculture, who's represented by Brandon Hargraves. be happy with that.
Good morning, everyone, whether you're listening in from home or are here at the Sydney Startup Hub today. My name is Brandon, co-founder and CEO of Sway Aquaculture, a farming startup seeking to grow a specific kind of seaweed that reduces methane in cattle by 99%. Yep. So, methane from cattle is an extremely important problem. It accounts for 10% of Australia's greenhouse gases and 23% of New Zealand's greenhouse gases. That's significant because cars, personal transport, is also 10%. And imagine how much effort we put into that. Dairy farmers and dairy brands are seeking ways to improve their sustainability of their products so that they may meet evolving consumer demands at the supermarkets. And they are also seeking to differentiate their products further to consumers. Sway Aquaculture addresses both of these opportunities by growing seaweed affordably at mass scale in the Philippines and feeding it in small doses to dairy cattle, which is able to achieve a 99% reduction in methane. So it's able to be incorporated into their existing diets at an affordable price. The dairy farmers and the dairy brands, once they incorporate this into their feed, they will be able to market their product is eco-friendly and methane reduced, giving them the competitive edge to compete in an extremely competitive market. Instead of building an entire industry from scratch here in Australia around seaweed, we're growing in the Philippines, a country with a proud history of seaweed farming going back centuries, with countless farmers, technicians, scientists, a full ancillary industry to support operations, and considerably lower costs. We've calculated that in the Philippines, we'll be able to achieve about 35 cents per kilogram of dried seaweed, whereas if you were to do it in Australia or elsewhere, it would be closer to $10 per kilogram of dried seaweed. Considering our customer is premium dairy farmers and brands, they require as low cost as possible, which we will be able to achieve. Seaweed is currently in its infancy. We're talking about an industry that is so far behind traditional land-based crops in terms of aspects such as automation and plant genetics. And so labor is an extremely important part of the seaweed farming process, where less yield for more labor is required relative to traditional land-based crops. And so as labor is such an important cost,
Sorry.
So as labor is such an important aspect of seaweed farming, it's important that we realistically address it and grow somewhere cheaper in the meantime until automation is achieved. Our customers are premium Australian dairy brands that are seeking to future-proof their operations by strengthening their brand as eco-friendly. We've spoken to a lot of Canberrans through our public surveys, and we've identified that the reasons they buy premium Australian brands of dairy is because they like aspects such as localness, ethical treatment of animals, and the fair wages to farmers. And so eco-friendliness will soon be able to be added to that list. When speaking with farmers and dairy brand owners around New South Wales, regional New South Wales, and over the phone, we've received a lot of positive attention. They are very concerned about the impact that methane has on the climate, as they live in the climate, and we've experienced bushfires very recently. More than half of the ones that we've spoken to are extremely concerned and are very eager to act as soon as possible to reduce that methane down to zero. They're also very interested in the marketability of methane-free dairy as competing with Coles and Woolworths milk, which is extremely cheap but also quite similar of a product, is quite difficult that they find. And so one farmer also proudly proclaimed that the dairy which isn't methane reduced in 5 years from now will be the caged eggs of dairy. And I thought that was a brilliant line. So we've calculated that it will cost about $1 per kilogram of dry seaweed for us. And depending on the studies, there's an inclusion range of 2% of their diet to 0.2%, depending on factors, some which are unknown. And so using reasonable and conservative assumptions of 400 grams which is 2% of their diet, and at a validated price of $5 a kilogram, that's about $730 per cow per year in added cost. However, that $730 is split between 6,000 litres on average of milk per year. And so that equals to about 12 cents per litre of milk, which is on average 2 litres, $2 a litre for milk, which is a 6% increase for break even if the farmer has the entire value chain, including dairy farm, dairy processing, and supply chain. We've spoken to 200 Canberrans, and we found a very strong correlation between the willingness to buy free-range eggs and the willingness to buy methane-free milk. We found that, so the data shows that 65% of Australians have bought free-range eggs in the past year, and on average, free-range eggs are about 80% dearer. So there is a tendency for a lot of people out there to buy a more expensive option for a sense of principle, such as ethics. Okay, next slide. Our team at Sway Aquaculture is committed to addressing the very significant role of climate change of cattle in climate change. This is especially so for Australia because we are at risk of crop failure, more so than many other countries around the world, and so it's important that we address it. The Food and Agriculture Organization has also noted that this decade of 2020 will be an enormous boom for aquaculture, from fish to seaweed, and so we would like to get in at the very beginning of this and ride the wave, so to speak. The team consists of me, Brandon, as CEO and co-founder. I'm in charge of stakeholder management, relationship building, so to speak, supply chain management, and corporate strategy. We also have Ehsan, who is also from ANU, who is a systems engineer on our team with an honours degree in engineering in sustainability and mechatronics. To address our lack of mass-scale operational experience with agriculture, we have just brought on Aladdin, our new CTO, who has many years' experience with aquaculture at large companies around the world. As our chairman in a guidance role, we have Lucas, who is a premier seaweed farmer in New Zealand, centrally immersed in the conversation over there. He provides valuable experience with years of government executive experience and seaweed farming experience. Finally, we've got Dr. Anisha Hurtado, who is the leading seaweed scientist of the Philippines on our team as a scientific advisor. She helps us with introductions and scientific research. Our vision is to future-proof dairy by making it eco-friendly. And so this can be achieved by incorporating mass-scale farming into our farming ambitions, because there are so many cows out there that so much seaweed needs to be produced that mass-scale is the only way forward. And so to get that 10% reduction in Australia's greenhouse gases, we'll be introducing to the Philippines the mass-scale farming method as commonly seen in China and South Korea, where often you'll find the farms extend 15 kilometers from shore to ocean. There's a lot to improve with their base model, which we will be doing, and we'll be incorporating these improvements over time. However, from the very beginning, we'll be incorporating a multi-trophic system whereby shellfish is farmed alongside the seaweed at a lower depth. There's a couple different configurations, but this is the typical idea. And it was invented by a not-for-profit in the US called Greenwave, which Lucas is working with very closely over in New Zealand as well. So we'll be incorporating that model to increase our revenue and also diversify it. And the added benefit is that by incorporating shellfish with seaweed farming, the water quality is immensely improved. If you have a look at China, for example, around the seaweed farms, just the seaweed, the water quality is much better than places where there isn't seaweed farming. And shellfish has that same effect. So by combining them, it improves it even further. And furthermore, the seaweed, it provides a leafy habitat for animals, sea creatures. So it increases biodiversity as well. We're not taking it from the seafloor and removing that habitat. We're creating another habitat on the surface of the water. So production is it's not only sustainable, but it also significantly improves water quality and biodiversity. So this is a model that we're very happy to focus on, and our CTO, Aladdin, has immense experience with shellfish incorporation. Okay, next. Our plan is for commercialization of the seaweed in 2022. That being said, for the shellfish, commercialization can happen in 2021 as soon as we begin growing. There are 4 aspects. So there are three areas where we'll be doing R&D throughout 2021 for the seaweed. First off, on the seaweed farm, in the lab, and then on the dairy farm. On the seaweed farm, we'll be setting up a 1-hectare pilot farm in Palawan region of the Philippines. This is a great location with it's safe from cyclones and has a lot of seaweed farming already. We'll be working with a local general manager who Dr. Hurtado has introduced us to, and soon we'll be putting that into writing and going ahead for 2021, so early 2021. In addition, we will be setting up a indoor operation because seaweed farming is seasonal typically. So instead of just having one harvest a year, we will also have an indoor operation, a small one, where we can do R&D throughout 2021, test different kinds of strains and all that, so that we'll have continuous R&D rather than just a single harvest. And so that'll also be our hatchery, where we produce spores and selectively breed them. We'll also be undertaking lab research with the National Seaweed Technology Development Center in the Philippines, which is a Philippine government's research center that Dr. Hurtado has worked with for 2 decades now. They will be able to research the physiology of the seaweed so that we understand how the environment affects the seaweed as well as the chemistry inside the seaweed, how that interacts, how we can better grow it as well. We'll be also choosing a dairy partner. We're currently speaking with a couple dairy brands around Australia, and we would like to test with them in a very close partnership our seaweed and do some product development with them to work out how to best feed the cows to get that 99% production. So our ask to you is, we're in need of expert guidance to prepare ourselves for that seed funding later this year. Where we've done a lot of progress over the past couple of months, but we still have quite a bit to go before we're 100% ready to confidently ask investors for, say, $150,000. And so we'd like to build a long-term relationship with you. We'd like to work with you over the years, provide mutual gain to each other in whatever form that may be, and just succeed together. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.
The camera? No? Oh, okay. Good. Amazing presentation. Now what we'll do now, we'll turn to the judges. We'll turn the camera to the judges, and they can ask any questions they have about the presentation.
My question is around what are you going to do with the funding? What will you, so you've got a fixed amount of money or a various amount of money that you're saying around the $150,000 mark. What are you going to do with that money, and what are you looking at achieving with that money?
Sure. So we've calculated different costings of different aspects of our 2021 operations. The seaweed farm itself, for all equipment and labor, is about $15,000 for the entire year. The the research with the National Seaweed Technology Development Center for a year of research on the physiology is about $37,000. We also have the hatchery to set up, which we're working with a professional hatchery technician right now to work out what that costing exactly will be. However, the estimate is about $15,000. We're also in need of certain machinery for the warehouse. So the typical method of drying seaweed in the Philippines is to just leave it out in the sun. And that doesn't ensure quality or bring it down to a specific water content percentage. So we're requiring a tunnel dryer, for example, which we will import from China. And that will allow us to mass dry to a very specific percentage the seaweed. And so that it depends on how big we get, but it could potentially be about $20,000. There are also, with the field tests on the dairy cows, we'll need to be able to measure the methane that they're emitting as well. So there's certain machines that can do that, certain technology that can do that. And so again, there's a bit of a variance. That 150K is not set in stone. It's just it's a figure that we're aiming for, but will be much more succinct in preparation for the seed hub.
Sure. And so then at the end of that 12 months investment in that machinery, largely, it seems, where will you be in terms of market readiness?
Sure. So with the dairy partner, we will create an effective product with them that we can reliably say with our measured devices that measure the methane, that it will bring it down to X percentage, 99% or so. And so that would be a commercial product ready for mass scaling up. The pilot farm will have allowed us to also practice the farming technique with this particular seaweed that hasn't really been farmed before. So we'll be able to farm it. We'll have an effective product with the dairy partner help. We will have the research done with the National Seaweed Center, so we'll understand the inner workings of the seaweed and how it interacts. So we'll be ready for commercialization.
Brandon, great presentation. Thank you. Looking at, you've obviously done a lot of work around your buyers and the fact that they're going to buy and pay a higher price for milk which is methane friendly. But those types of buyers are probably likely to care about the planet and other aspects of sustainability as well. So, for example, carbon neutrality. How are you going to get the product from the Philippines into the feed here? Talk to us also about biosecurity and how you're going to be confident that sort of supply chain in the critical food industry is going to be observed. And just talk to us generally about that market, because I think that those who want to buy it want to know the whole story around sustainability.
Sure. So the supply chain is with your shipping container ships, the large ones from Manila over to say Sydney or another port. That obviously is not a carbon neutral process. However, the 10% at scale reduction that is achieved with the seaweed far outweighs the shipping emissions that are released. So we'll be also seeking to reduce the amount of trips as well throughout the year that we do with the ships to again reduce those emissions. In terms of biosecurity, you have to make sure that the spores of the seaweed are non-viable when you import it to Australia or New Zealand. And so if you're granulating the seaweed into a dust, which we will be, then those spores become non-viable. And so that granulation is typically like a rubber stamp. Well, it's almost a rubber stamp approval. Also, you may need to fumigate the seaweed so that there's no pests or any kinds of problems like that on the seaweed. And so you do that before the granulation. And then what was the final question? The market.
I think it's just telling that whole story around the whole package rather than just elements of it. giving your consumers confidence that they can buy, and then you've got all the bases covered.
Sure. So, I mean, farmers, they obviously want low risk and low cost. So the low risk aspect, with that dairy farm research that we'll be doing with our partner, we will work with them to work out exactly what it is we need to find out to bring that risk, that all these questions that they have down to, that we can answer them, or that there are no certain risks. They've said, if it was ready right now, they would buy it. But there needs to be a bit more research done into the seaweed. There's been a couple studies done by the CSIRO and elsewhere which show really great results, 99% reduction and so on. But there's so many variables that are not understood properly. So that needs to be done, and we hope to be able to do that throughout 2021 and over the coming years as well, further research.
Brandon, hi, thanks for that great presentation. Some good strategies there and approaches, and you covered quite a lot of pertinent details. I learned quite a bit from that, so thank you for that. You've helped me understand the connection between methane, dairy, climate change. So brilliant in terms of quality of idea, innovation. Kudos and credit to you. I'm going to go to the heart of your proposition here, which is you're going to make a contribution to the reduction of the greenhouse gases. What do you know about that reduction in terms of, can you quantify that? Can you give some assurance around the reduction or your contribution towards that reduction, and how that benchmarks against where else those reductions are coming from or could come from? Where do you kind of sit against an entire industry around trying to reduce greenhouse gases? Where's the contribution of this?
Sure. So specifically with cows, there's at the moment no real way to reduce the methane. They're looking into a couple of things such as selective, like genetic modification, selective breeding, vaccines, these kinds of things. However, this seaweed is like the first thing that's actually quite simple to do. And quite an easy process with verified results in multiple studies. So that 99% reduction. So there's across the studies, there's variances in the results. However, I would say that is there's a couple of reasons. For example, there's not enough of an amount of studies to be able to say what the specific percentage is. Also, the seaweed, it's picked from the wild. It's not selectively grown. So the ones that they pick for that particular study, they could be, maybe not as effective as ones done in other studies. And so that could explain differences. Also, there's differences in how they feed the seaweed, what it's incorporated with, like what other feeds it's incorporated with, and how often. So again, that shows different results across different studies. But what they did find is that at 2% inclusion, it achieves a 99% reduction. So that's quite solid. It's just the details that need to be ironed out. In terms of other sort of things to combat climate change, for example, you see how much work is being done with electric vehicles and renewable energy. And this is to achieve that. I mean, if all personal transport was electric and they used renewable energy, then that would be the 10% reduction right there. Imagine how many billions of dollars have gone into that, how much effort, how many engineers and scientists are involved. Whereas for this, it's a farming operation, and seaweed is an extremely easy farming operation to do, assuming you've got skilled workers, which we will. And so it's the most cost-effective way to reduce greenhouse gases by far. There's nothing that compares to this massive reduction of cows that seaweed can achieve.
Okay. Well, now we'll wrap this presentation up, and we'll have you stand by for a second, and we'll wait for the next presentation.
"2020 Vision is all about conversation and community. You should talk to your audience, not at them. DOTF has over a decade's experience in creating content and developing strategy for a huge variety of industries, from food and beverage to community activism. Our unique skill set and agile team ensures that our content will help you connect directly with your community, speak their language, and achieve your goals. Let us find your audience, reach them on the platforms they love, and tell them a story that they'll remember.
We're going good? All right, good. Hey everybody, welcome back. Now it's Tom who's going to be presenting on behalf of Pop-Up Farms, and he's from the University of Queensland. You know, I'll pass over the stream to him and we'll get it going. Unless you're cranking us.
No.
Oh, we're sorry. Wasn't ready there. Tom, can you hear us?
It's completely frozen.
Okay, well, Tom's experiencing some technical difficulties.
He's gonna jump back.
Should I say a few jokes while we're here?
You're live.
I actually don't know any jokes. I know I'm live. It's embarrassing. That's why there's more viewers now. I won't put that, so stand by.
2020 Vision is all about conversation and community. You should talk to your audience, not at them. DOTF has over a decade's experience in creating content and developing strategy for a huge variety of industries, from food and beverage to community activism. Our unique skill set and agile team ensures that our content will help you connect directly with your community, speak their language, and achieve your goals. Let us find your audience, reach them on the platforms they love, and tell them a story that they'll remember.
People hear me? How do I find out?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you. You there?
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm there. Yeah,
Great. Well, Tom, we'll let
definitely.
you.
But share my screen. Will that work?
Yep, that'll work.
Okay.
Hopefully not.
What was that? Sorry.
Another amazing presentation. Judges, do you have any questions?
Can he take the questions? Is he online?
He should be.
Okay.
Hello, Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Is there anybody out there? Tom, if you can't hear us, or
Hi.
if you can hear us,
Can you-
hi. How are you? Yep. Floating in your tin can. My question, Tom, I mean, great presentation, lovely idea, really nice to move away from an inefficient system towards something that is more easily accessible to people. Again, my question is, what's next for you? You can hear.
All right, I can.
Maybe you're very laggy. How about we just talk to you over the phone? Okay, cool. Just turn off your, yeah, okay, cool.
The question was, what's next for us?
Yes, that's right. What's next in terms of what are your practical, logistical next steps in terms of developing and releasing the app and testing it in the 2 markets?
Yes, great. Well, that's one of the big reasons that we're here. We really require a bit of mentorship, more than funding at this stage, I suppose. And the problem with this mentorship is definitely going to be like determine the required capital that we'll need to take this idea to market. But we have done a lot of thinking about like the next sort of strategic steps for us, with like in absence of that. So the first thing we need to look at is sort of validating a bunch of our assumptions that we've made in like sort of proposing this idea, and these sort of revolve around the best type of sort of economy to launch this app in. And so that's where it comes into launching in Sydney and in Guam. We want to secure a little bit of funding so that we're able to refine the development of this app. And the way we propose we secure such funding is through looking at government grants. We know that like the Department of Agriculture in Guam particularly, and even in Australia, there's lots of ways that we can secure a little bit of funding if we can show that it is for the betterment of the economy in that way. We have a product at this point which needs a little bit of sort of like freshening up in order to be launched onto an app store sort of thing. So we need to like invest time and money into development, particularly development of that component which sort of requires, like sort of enables people to sort of have insights on consumer behavior geographically sort of thing. That's the next step in this sort of development. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. I'm going to pass over to one of my judgment colleagues.
Howdy, Tom. Right here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Tom, thanks for that. That's it is a nifty idea. I mean, I've heard your proposition during the course of your preparation for this. So I am a fan of it. I think it's fantastic that you're covering 3 sort of problems in one. The farming and produce waste, the unemployment, and the kind of shopping hemorrhage in shopping centres with lots of people in a COVID era. And I love how you've connected it to a very real issue right now that everybody in the world knows about and is familiar with and has suffered some pain with. That's the current COVID climate. So I love all of that. I kind of wanted to kind of understand a little bit more about your financial modeling. So what are you sort of, if you've got some next steps to go to Guam and in Sydney, and by the way, I like the approach of, piloting in one sort of segment of the world and then kind of expanding out. What do you think as part of that pilot, as part of that first step? What sort of money do you need? What will you be asking for? How are you going to spend that money?
Yeah, so as I said, that's something that we're yet to sort of fully define because I suppose just the early stage of this project, but to give an indication, we kind of thought think about it, and we sort of suppose that $50,000 will be a minimum that we'll require in order to sort of develop this product with professional developers and then to launch this product using with all the sort of marketing campaigns that come along with that. Particularly in a place like Guam, but the reason we include Sydney as well is the accessibility that we get from that and the ease of access to that market sort of thing. We think that once we get it up and running, it'll be pretty quick to achieve sort of self-sustainability there. We've done a little bit of revenue calculation, and through sort of looking at avocado farming in Sydney, we found that a farmer in that sort of situation could expect to make more than $30,000 in the 3 months post-harvest sort of thing. And with such large revenues at that point, we think that the price point that we'd be able to sort of propose this product is quite large, up to perhaps even sort of $100 a month. And that pretty quickly adds up to revenue that can sort of sustain us and grow the sort of necessity that we need with marketing campaigns and further development and whatnot into new sort of markets.
Wonderful, thank you. Passing you over to the next judgment.
Thanks. Absolute comedy way of asking a question, so I really enjoyed it. Great presentation, great idea. How much money can you make? What's your most optimistic scenario on revenue generation from the model that you just described? And also, how do you transition from just being a farming-centric app into a sort of whole of pop-up app? I could see some real potential around a sort of an amalgamation of pop-ups and almost like a gamified or sort of city-based tour, which you pick up your phone on a Sunday morning and say, I'm going to walk around the markets today, I'm going to take in all the best pop-ups. Can really see that. But how would you make money out of that, and how much can you make?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that because one thing that we really have considered, and I don't think it was in our presentation, but would have been in mind if we hadn't had the technical difficulties, was the idea that in a post-COVID world, this app is still really relevant because we are under the COVID app, we're simply an app which supports informal shopping, provides consumer analytics, small-scale operations. And the farmers that are impacted by COVID right now, they really just happen to be quite a convenient market for the time being. But they're not the only one, and not the biggest. We think that informal retail is actually also a really big market. In places like Sub-Saharan Africa, 80% of retail by value is done informally, whereas it's common to use mouthful or temporary thanks to farmers that have that ability to move around the suburbs, eat fresh consumers. They have no effective way of making data-driven decisions about where to locate their shops or how to publicize where they're going to be to the interested sort of consumers, sort of thing. So I agree that it's going to be an amalgamation of that, and that's sort of the next step after we achieve some brand awareness, a little bit of funding from this first few sort of half years following the COVID crisis. But in terms of how we make money out of that, it's the traditional sort of revenue model that we propose, whereby we offer that additional feature of being able to locate where the most consumers are geographically in order to inform where you should locate your pop-up shop. And so that's going to be always really appealing to the kind of pop-up shop owners who do this sort of thing for a living in retail, any sort of product you're sort of trying to post. And so I really agree with this sort of concept of having a pop-up store. That's something that our app really facilitates. And through that, it will always be on the sellers the burden to pay for this app. The paper will be there, so it's always quite attractive to consumers to have this service for free.
And maybe if you...
Sorry, I think that last answer to your question, sort of the maximum revenue we think we could sort of produce with this. I don't have a clear number for you there. I'm so sorry because sort of the nature of it is that we are starting with a small sort of sample size. We haven't calculated with just in Sydney alone that it would be perhaps up to $50,000 in 3 months if we had only 150 farmers subscribed to the service, which is not a lot example, starts from the Sydney sort of like area. But once we launch globally, I think the market is absolutely humongous when you take into consideration of informal retail. It really is like billions and billions of dollars. And I think that they've often like been overlooked that sort of market, which is like the informal retailers who do like small turnovers, but like with really benefit from a little bit of like intelligence coming from analytics, which is what we provide fundamentally.
Great, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Tom. We'll check in with you later.
Thank you.
Thank you. For our next team, we have the Falcons team, which is joining us all the way from Tasmania. Hassan, Lipton, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear
perfect.
me? Okay, I will share my screen now.
No problem.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can you? Can you see my screen?
No, okay.
You can see?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We are Falcons team. The business idea we are going to present today. No? Cannot hear? I think have some time difference. Okay, sorry, I start again. Okay, good morning, everyone. We are Falcons team. The business idea we are going to present today, we want to solve the problem that nowadays learners and tutors are struggling to connect with each other. The business idea actually comes from a real story. One day I was studying in uni. What's weird that a man came to me asking, "Do you know anyone who can teach my son mathematics?" He actually asked all the 7 people sitting there one by one. What's more weird, after asking them, he asked me again, "Do you know where the notice board that I can put up notice to look for a tutor?" I was so surprised that is this still in dark ages that the information are so disconnected. Actually, not only for school tutoring. Sometimes you want to learn some skills. It's also difficult to find appropriate tutors, isn't it? And sometimes the potential tutor is just sitting beside you and you might not notice it. So what are the major problems regarding tutoring? After doing market research and survey, we identified the top 4 concerns. People are saying expenses are very high, and you want to look for a tutor, you need to search from Google, newspaper, social media, and ask friends, a lot of channels, which is very time consuming. If you learn from the local agency, the time is not flexible, and the distant tutors, they may hardly know your real needs. Here is our solution, Circle Learning. We provide a local platform which connects learners and tutors into small learning circles, where the learners can learn either school courses or practical skills, and the tutors can earn extra money. Our process is also very straightforward. For learners, they can either post learning requirement or search tutors. After paying subscription fee, they can get response from tutors, and then they choose and pay. Initially, they have a free 30-minute trial. In the end, they are going to read a tutor. So why the learners should learn from our platform? Firstly, it's very economical for them because we have less agency cost. Secondly, we provide them more choice of the tutors. Thirdly, it's very flexible regarding time and way of learning. Similarly for the tutors, after get membership and start the journey, they can either post teaching session or search learning tasks. So firstly, they need to provide a free 30-minute trial. So after it is satisfying, they will receive the payment and deliver teaching. In the end, they can also rate the learner. Our value for them is that we provide them more opportunities to show the talents to diverse learners. Because we have less commission charge, obviously they can get more profit. We are very responsible for tutors. If they cannot get the students within a time period, we are going to refund the membership fee, so they have nothing to lose. So evidently, we are a customer-centric platform which provides benefits for both tutors and learners.
In order to evaluate our business feasibility, we did market research and conducted surveys, which help us to evaluate whether our business work in real life or not. According to our research, we found that in Australia every year people are spending $1.3 billion on their tutoring. And also, according to our research, we found that in initial research, one time responsive person respond that they are initially preferred to 70% local tutors over distant tutors, and 77.8% prefer in-person teaching. Amazingly, 91.7% interested in our platform, and most importantly, 84.4% people are willing to tutor. So these all are in favor of our business. Next slide. At start a business, we are targeting two group of people. First are like the middle-aged people who are parents of year 1 to year 12 students, and another one are university students who are mostly are international students. In targeting international students, we are getting that they are approaching are the university courses which are 46.4%, and they are interested in languages which are 37.3%, and they are interested in skills which are 35.5%. We are targeting middle-aged people because according to our research, we found that 25% people are already paying for tutoring for their children, and 17% are considering for paying for their tutors for their children's. Next, please. Now talking about our competitive advantage, our competitors, we are differentiated our business model based on 4 grounds. Firstly, we are economical, centralized local platform, diversity and flexible. Our first competitors, Chloe, offer only online opportunity, whereas our platform offer both online and offline, which is flexible for the learners. And also, we are economical as compared to our competitors. Look, Superproof, which has subscription $39 per month for their student, but we just have $20 per year from our student. And we also working as a two-way interactive. In Superproof, just tutors can advertise their needs, while our platform provided rights to students as well, so they can post their demands as well. According to local competitors, the ACE, who are charging over 20% commission from tutors, while we are just charging a 10% commission from our tutors, which are also very good for our tutors who get our membership.
We have worked out all the detail of the business model. Now I just want to highlight some
more reliable. Apart from that, we provide refund policy to our tutors. So regarding the cost structure, which included IT costs such as website, marketing, administration, and referring commission. For the revenue stream, the subscription fee from both parties and the commission from the tutoring course, this is the largest part of our revenue. And in the future, if our platform becomes mature, we will have advertisement revenue. Based on the local market research, we set our target numbers. 6 months end will be 1,000 in Hobart. 1 year end will be 2,500 in whole Tasmania. In the budget income statement, I want to highlight one point. Our mean revenue is tutoring course commission, and we calculate this one based on our survey data, and we only take 25% of our market size to make it more reliable. After analyze and calculate, we draw this line. After 6 months, we break even, and after 1 year, our profits are more than $100,000, and it's continued growth in the future. So the development strategy for us is divided by 3 steps. Firstly, we start from where we are, Hobart, Tasmania. In this stage, we do the test and adjust of our website and do the development in one state. Secondly, after 1 year, we are going to Melbourne. In this stage, we have more users and profits. We are planning to create app. Thirdly, after 2 years, at that time, our Circle learning platform will be famous all over Australia. We will have more profits from the advertisement. And our vision is enrich every learner's life by connecting right talents to you. And we have 5 members, all from University of Tasmania. We have different work experience before, and which all related to business, so it can help us carry out our project more efficiently. Thanks for letting us join this competition, and special thanks to our mentor Aaron and all the workshop tutors. We are here to ask some advice from you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. We'll open up. Yeah. We'll open up questions to the judges. Judges, I'll hand over the mic to one of you.
Thank you. Hi there, Falcons. Great presentation. I think you covered, there was a number of questions that I was forming in my mind and you were answering them, so I think the run through worked really, really well for you. Really nifty idea. The immediate thought in my head, perhaps this is more of an observation, is what is wrong with our education system? More and more and more people need to revert to supplementary education and training and tutoring. 25%, I think you said, are paying for tutoring. So that got me thinking about what is the reason, the underlying reason as to why somebody wants to get tutoring, either for themselves or for their children. I think your market is for the parent, for the child, so if the reason is that the school is not doing a great job and the child is suffering, then how are you going to deliver efficacious education? Because that is the problem why I'd go to a tutor, right? It's because school isn't doing it for me, so I need someone that's going to do it. And I didn't really hear much about the quality of the tutors and how you might assess them before letting them willy-nilly come on board onto your platform. So if you could talk about that, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, thank you for your question. Regarding the problems, actually, we think that the tutoring, the education system, obviously is not that bad. But the thing is, the reality is, no matter in Australia or the parents are actually very care about the children's education, and not only for the school tutoring, and also for other things like skills and extracurricular interests. So even if the education in school is very good, they still need to have maybe they have this kind of requirement to make this the children learn more perfectly. So we found the figure we found actually from the market research in the reality that 25% already paid for that. So based on this reality, so the market size actually is very big. that's why we choose this industry for tutoring. So this is the first question regarding the problem. And secondly, how how we assess the tutors. Yeah, because we have the assessment system. The both way the tutors and the learners can read each other. So actually through this method we can this is very real comment from the real users. So we are going to see that the real quality of the tutors, because this is the comment from the real users. So it's more real to life.
Yeah, in addition to that, our platform is like a local centralized, so most people are familiar with each other, so they know most about tutors, they are how much about goodwill of that tutor, so it's also like helpful for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic presentation. Thank you. You covered a lot of ground very quickly, and so well done on that presentation. Just a question, how are you going to sustain this model? It looks and feels like high pages for tutors. You know, that there's a platform out there already where I can get a tradie, and why wouldn't High Pages just sort of open up a new section of its site to sort of cope with tutors as well? How would you differentiate yourself from someone who's already got a very much cheaper, very much bigger platform than you?
Yeah, okay. Firstly, my understanding of your question is that how we differentiate with our competitors. So in that case, if you look at what we already said, we actually compared with existing competitors. So the mainly differentiate, firstly, is the expense, because we charge less commission fee from the tutor.
Yeah, actually, the main thing which are learner looking in the market is that how gonna we get quality and the cheap rates. So our commission is very less as compared to our competitors, as we already mentioned. And so I think if we charge less commission and we can increase quality and we can attract more customers. And the other thing, our monthly, we are not charging monthly subscription. We are charging to per year subscription, which is very less, like just $20 as compared to our competitors. We search a lot of competitors. They are ready charging a lot of subscription fees, and we already have a real experience with our life. We pay a lot of money to a local agents and a subscriptions like these kind of stuff. So we face that they are charging very high, but not delivering according to their rates. So I think this is a big difference with our competitor advantage that we can get the market.
Yeah, and one more thing, because we are centralized local location-based platform. So what's very important that in our platform, we are actually provide a two-way interactive communication from both the tutor side and the learner side. They both can either post the learning and teaching requirements on the platform, or they can search the learners or tutors. So they have the they can proactively to deliver the message or search for the tutors according to the requirement. So yeah. And also not only school courses but also skills.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Falcons team. We're now going to move over to the next team, another team from Tasmania, Apple Isle, and we will get that started just in a second. So if you could all just stand by, that'd be great.
Department of the Future has 2020 vision when it comes to content creation. We know that agility, flexibility, and strategy will help you meet your goals and solve your communication problems. We have over a decade's experience creating content and developing strategy for the entertainment industry. Our flagship product, Speaker TV, was a Melbourne music icon, and we worked with big names internationally and closer to home. Our unique skill set and agile team ensures that our content will help you inspire people, change lives, and start a conversation with your community. Let us find your audience, reach them on the platforms they love, and tell them a story that they'll remember.
Okay, great. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Fantastic. So we're going to have you begin your presentation now in front of the judges. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fantastic. All right, we'll let you take it away then.
Yeah, thank you. So we are the team of the Apple I/O, and today we're gonna share you the story about how our product can provide you the new experience of exercising together. So let's start with one astonishing fact that 1 in 2 Australian adults, they have insufficient physical activities, not to mention in this COVID-19 pandemic situation. So here is an example of the typical user. Mark is living in Sydney. He has a few different sports exercise interests, but the problem for him is that he actually found it's quite difficult for him to find the suitable activity, group activity for sports. Because after a while, when he tried using the different apps to search for the information for the group activity, then it turned out actually a lot of the sports, they're just either too far away or just not happening at the right time or not at his level. So it's not suitable for him. And if he wants to play sports with people, then if the friends are not available, then there's not much option he can choose. So based on the scenario, we can see the problem obvious is that exercising alone, a lot of times, is not possible. Like you can play tennis by yourself. But by using the existing platforms, we find out actually they can't satisfy the needs of the customers. So the group activities are not flexible or convenient enough for the users there. And also, it's very time consuming for users to find any relevant group activity or sports exercise there. So here is our solution, Buddy Up, one-stop solution to exercising together. So basically, it's a location-based service platform pairing you with the buddies nearby to exercise together. So which means you can find exercise friends easily, anytime, anywhere. And also it can customize your own group exercise with more flexibilities to your own wishes. And also you can even book venues. So welcome to Buddy Up. In our platform, you can pair up with buddies nearby, find the interesting exercises, activity, and also customize your activity, even booking straight away. Our target customers are young adults between 18 to 44, especially those who like sports, but can't find the group activity easily or who feel just lack of motivation when doing sports. Or maybe some people, they want to meet like-minded people. And also because we're also partner with business corporations. So sports venues or sports clubs will also be our business customers. What makes that different? So by our app, by our Buddy Up, you can have the one-stop solution to your fitness journey. You can finding the exercise friends and activities nearby easily, also booking venues just at your fingertip. Because you can design your own group exercise at the location, at the time, and also at the level wherever you want. So actually, you can tailor your own group exercise. And it also saves you trouble and the time to finding the suitable sports activity by using different platforms. Besides, it also can give you the opportunity to get to know more like-minded people to achieve the fitness goals together. And you can join the wide network of sports clubs and tournaments. So the market is massive. According to the Fitness Industry Impact Report, this year, there's more than 6,426 fitness businesses. That means including the gym and fitness center in Australia. And for young adults between 18 to 44 years old who participate in sports, that's more than 6 million people. And our goal is that we're trying to capture like 1% within 12 months with a goal of capturing 10% in year 3. So the revenue model we use is freemium, which means some users just free, for others they have to pay. And the majority comes from the subscription fee. Because individuals, if they want to unlock the advanced treats, then they have to pay. And that will be monthly like $12.99. For sports venues, where the customers will book their venues through our platform, they have to pay us yearly $1,200 for the subscription fee. And 1/3 of our revenue is estimated to come from advertisement and sponsorship. So that may include the training coach program, sports brands, clubs, and even sports events. So in the future, we also designed several ways to diversify our profitability. So one is about make more features, say Body Up Boost, Body Up Gold, or even Body Up Youth program. We can also tap into the data insights to design the personalized workout programs for customers. And also for pair up, if they achieve the challenge together, then they can have the in-app currency, which can maybe unlock several features or get vouchers of merchandise. For the cost of our company, it consists of 3 parts: marketing, operation, and implementation. Marketing mainly coming from campaigns or the promotion fee, free trial strategy, free trial fee, and also business development. So our timeline in the next year, we are trying to do research and development and also go to the execution. So in the first 6 months, in the first month, we trying to do the market research, and then in the next 2 months, we're trying to get the initial funding and also finding the product market fit, and then get the beta launch and trying to get the trial users by the end of 6 months. After that, we're trying to do some promotion by different channels, like say social media ads or user influencer in different social medias, let them promote our products. That will be very effective. And also doing campaigns to raise people's awareness. Also, we're trying to build more partnerships with businesses and the customers. So trying to just acquire more customers. And our objective is to get more than 1,000 daily active users by the next November. So here is our team. Our team is very diversified. We all in different disciplines. So we have our own expertise. Tony is a co-founder. He's good at UX and also environmental background. Me, I'm the CMO. I'm good at graphic design and also marketing. And also I have the background that I do quite a few different sports. So I quite know where does the customers come from. And Omong, she has had the experience of being the procurement operation of business. Connor is our CTO. He's good at UI design and coder. And our CFO, Yubing, will do the number financial thing. So welcome to Buddy Up. Let's welcome your new experience journey to new exercise together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jingting. Judges, do you have any questions?
Pardon me. Yes, my main question, Jingting, for your really comprehensive and very thorough, well-researched and well-articulated proposal is about validation. So how have you been able to validate with your customer base that this will take off? So you have fantastic plans for liftoff, but what is the customer viewpoint? Have you been able to trial a prototype with customers, or have you had extensive customer research to give you the confidence that, yes, this will be satisfying many, many, many customers?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, we do, because firstly, actually our team, most of our members, we are the users, potential users of this product, because we find actually we have the need from our team. So that's why we come up with a solution. And then, hear me clearly, sorry. And then because we have several in-depth interviews from the unis or from LinkedIn, and then we found out some of them actually, part of them, they have the motivation problem, that they feel lazy, they feel less motivated, so they think finding a partner to access to that will definitely make them have motivation. And for some of them, like Gumi, he's in Sydney, he actually played basketball a lot, but he said before he normally joined the local basketball association, just like a local club. And then that's like he has to register on the website. And the local club has several connections with other clubs and teams. Then that's how he can join the tournament. But we think if by using our platform, we can empower him with more chances to get connected with more wider team and tournaments and competition chances. So for him, we find actually he would like to try that. And for some people, they say because it took them a lot of time for search information in Meetup or Facebook events, but then like you have to go through so many stages to find exactly the event you want. Like in Facebook, you can't directly go to the sports events. They don't even have the filter for you to search for it. So it's pretty like just troubling, time consuming. Then also a lot of sports activities there, they're like we said, they're like too far away. The location, if you check out the location or the timetable and then you think, oh, okay, let's forget about it because it's not convenient. I have to drive so far away. The traffic going there, it's not worth it. So we think building a just social network designed for fitness is like a lot of people doing exercise, but they just feel they still haven't done enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really fascinating market. We do a lot of work in sport, and the growth of informal competitions and sort of bounce games is going through the roof. So you mentioned the subscriptions from sports centres. Just an idea. Also think about the sports governing bodies as well, because they're all trying to encourage grassroots participation in sport. So fantastic area. It's really growing. The question is this: which sports do you think it will work for? Which sports might it not work for? And in particular, you know, when we play a game of informal sport, we want to play against people who are going to be similar ability and you know, have similar interests. How would you make sure that if two teams turned up for an informal game of basketball, they were kind of the right level for each other?
You mean how to make sure that their capability, their level, kind of like similar level?
Yeah, would there be, for example, a rating system that says, you know, we're an A-grade team and we only want to play other A-grade teams? Or would you just leave that to sort of the market, you know, and the experience to work itself through? If I wanted to go in a running club, how would I know I wouldn't be 10 times faster or slower than the next person?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. We think for the individual level, we haven't think about the team yet, but I mean, for the individual, we think when you register on our platform, you have to label yourself with your interest, with the skills levels. So it will be very specific, like not just like intermediate, beginner, or advanced, but also like how much time, how many years experience you have in that. And then, so it can help you to match with others better. And also we actually thinking maybe use the like we say, pair up, you can challenge with each other. So then maybe the challenge thing can make it like a gaming, like a game. So then it can have the winner and the loser, and then it can help other customers in the future to have against, oh, I think that one is competitive and I like to compete with him. And in terms of the team, I think it's similar, but for team it's more complex. It's involved a lot of people, but we think, like just like the real games competitions, it's better they have the challenge, they have the competition, and then based on the records, and then people can tell from the history. So yeah, it's good. Maybe we can try to use some algorithm and BI, big data thing to make it better easily.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. So my question, great presentation, by the way, and another quite a unique idea. I'm actually really keen on exercise, and I think I'd look to a platform like this because I think having a buddy motivates you. But the problem I have is I don't think I want a stranger as a buddy. I would like to have some sort of a relationship with the person. I think an extension to what Fraser asked about, you know, knowing a little bit about them and their skills ability. So can you resolve the kind of the stranger to stranger buddying up to do kind of sports together? Because I think that might be a hurdle for maybe potentially in a large demographic of this market. And then if that's going to be a problem, and they build a relationship with a stranger. So let's say they got over that hurdle, they build a relationship with that stranger, and now they're buddies and they do a lot of sport together and run together. Why should they come back to the platform if they've already established that once off? What's going to drive me back to the website or to the app? Thanks.
Thank you. To the second question, we didn't worry about it that much because we think, like Tinder, doing the similar thing, although they're focused on dating and we are not. But I just mean, if the people in that platform already find the one they already enjoy dating, where they come back, I think, Tinder don't worry about it. So we don't think we have the need to worry. If the customer base is big enough, then people would like to meet more people, new people, and build more network. For the first one, actually, you mean you'd like to exercise with people that you have some social, you're familiar with, to the stranger to stranger, how to solve their awkward or daunting this thing. I think, I think actually it's not that weird because if you go to the Facebook events, if you go to the events group activity, most often, the majority of them you meet in the activities, they're all strangers. So if you don't feel intimidated by the all groups of strangers, I mean, one-to-one stranger exercise is not that, I mean, not that difficult or weird as you thought. It just, I think we're trying to change people's mind. Because if you can dating with people starting from strangers, why can't you exercise with people if you already feel certain that his level and you guys can match with each other? Why don't exercise together? Just have fun and motivate each other to, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, King. So for our next presenter, we will be playing a video presentation from Hawking Consulting, who's representing Sydney University Business Society.
To improve inefficiencies in our society. Our team endeavours to solve problems with innovative solutions, such as the influx in demand for medical advice during the corona crisis. With the physical and time constraints of attending an appointment, many should just gain a peace of mind. We came up with our solution HealthLink to achieve the same professional outcome, but with better resource management. Our new idea was introducing the field of entrepreneurship, with all of us working hard to research and flesh out this application, even in the midst of exams, with skills of proactiveness and a committed drive to do better and develop. Trade to believe that build successful entrepreneurs.
In today's healthcare industry, there is an underuse of emerging technologies such as data integration and analytics to help assist many of its operations. The public healthcare system is siloed into different services and deployment models, such as GP and physiotherapy, with data only being shared within a specific provider. Now, with limited data sharing and rudimentary analytical applications, there is a high mismatch in provision of specific services. This can be seen in the inability to provide equal care to low socioeconomic areas, with diagnosis waiting times being 67% higher than metropolitan areas and 27% higher in treatment costs. Now, what we as Hawking Consulting want to do is to provide a solution to help assist the future of a more integrated and efficient healthcare industry, where they are able to utilize the benefits of data technology so that predictive medicine is prevalent and in-person diagnosis is not required.
Meet Malika. She's 29 and lives in Sydney. She's a postgraduate student. One morning, she experiences heartburn and migraines. So she calls her GP to book an appointment, but has to wait 2 weeks for the next available appointment. After waiting 2 weeks, she arrives at the clinic and finds the doctor running 45 minutes overtime. After a consultation, the doctor prescribes her medicine, but she has to wait another 30 minutes due to the backup at the pharmacy. Malika is now stressed as she must catch up on Miss University classes due to the lengthy waiting times. As part of our primary research, Hawking Consulting conducted a Google Form survey for consumers to Sydney residents aged 12 to 69 years old. Out of these responses, we found that 78% of responders would like a technological solution to communicate with their doctors, and 44% of responded have left or avoided a medical appointment due to time, cost, and travel efficiencies. Overall, 83% of responders would utilize a HealthLink application on their mobile device. Therefore, after collating our primary research insights, we decided our target market would be users aged 18 to 50 years old, as well as an inclusive gender in the Australian location.
This disconnected, treatment-centric healthcare system presents a lucrative opportunity. HealthLink, a centralized healthcare application with a greater focus on preventative health. HealthLink is an app that centralizes patients and clinicians through the use of wearable devices. With our population becoming increasingly more tech-savvy, HealthLink will enable users to self-navigate their health journey, providing greater foresight and control. Let's look at the patient journey. From a wearable device, real-time data including high and low heart rate, blood pressure, and more is instantaneously linked to an individualized health profile. Data is then passed through AI to identify irregularities in a patient's health. If there are any issues, an alert is sent to doctors who can remotely monitor data and determine whether an in-person consultation should take place. This leverages advantages of efficiency and reduced costs. HealthLink profiles will provide clinicians with accurate data that will warrant more precise and efficient diagnoses. Moreover, HealthLink will reduce healthcare costs in the long term, as a shift from treatment to prevention will enable diseases to be stopped before they even start.
Data is collected through the device layer utilizing a built-in identifier UUID, then personalized to the user interface. A private cloud ensures access to predetermined persons with end-to-end encryption, suitable for the sensitive nature of healthcare information, also giving real-time access to doctors or post-surgery professionals. Artificial intelligence can then be applied on top to discover individual patterns and living habits, establishing a norm for the user. An analytics module can also be stacked on the platform, ensuring an automatic flag of abnormalities, such as a prolonged increased heart rate, a silent but possible heart attack symptom. This flag automatically alerts the doctor assigned through the communication layer with the IoT-optimized MQTT protocol. The doctor is then able to provide professional opinions based on real-time accurate information.
For doctors and clinics, HealthLink will enhance the efficiency and accuracy of healthcare professionals by first, providing doctors with up-to-date data concerning patient health conditions, thus allowing accurate and swift patient assessment, and second, reducing waiting lists and clutter in clinics by providing patients consultations on a need-to basis. We acknowledge that patients will still want information regarding their health, and subsequently, HealthLink will provide access to both personalized data on current health conditions from data collected, as well as real-time communication with health professionals for patients. However, we see greater impact in patients with chronic health conditions. The potential possibilities of detecting those with pre-existing conditions and those that are more susceptible to sudden health detriments, for example, stroke, seems to be an illuminating prospect for healthcare in the future. The ability to detect health complications before they happen or as they happen would have potential to save numerous lives and better the lives of many.
The Australian healthcare system currently faces significant challenges to ensuring health system sustainability due to the vast amount of disconnect between health services. As technology continues to rapidly develop, the need to have a centralized healthcare system becomes increasingly necessary. With an expected 15.9% compound annual growth rate between 2020 and 2027, the wearable technology market is expected to more than double within the next 10 years, a promising indicator to the success of our application. Additionally, wearable technology will undoubtedly become more efficient and powerful. With this, it is estimated that in the near future, most of society will be using wearable IoT devices. The integration of our product is made easier due to existing infrastructure with modules such as SAP and Oracle, which support our application. Thus, rising popularity of wearable technology provides seamless transition for establishing our centralized healthcare platform.
When considering a design thinking framework and viewing our application through the three lenses of innovation, we see our project as desirable, feasible, and viable. First, on desirability. Healthcare is and always will be highly in demand given its nature as an essential service. In fact, the current pandemic in which we're experiencing will further contribute towards a more health-conscious society in which people will be much more considerate of their current health status and issues pertaining to their health. Thus, we see our application as a vehicle to support the increasing demands of people going forward over the medium term of 5 to 10 years. HealthLink will be a simple-to-use application, matching the exponential growth and acceptance of mobile applications and smart devices such as smartwatches. On feasibility, in 2018, the Australian Bureau of Statistics released public health data to aid professionals and medical researchers, bettering the overall efficiency and accuracy of the current healthcare system. We see HealthLink as a technical expansion of this, streamlining the data in a consistent and mutual fashion to address the current shortcomings seen in the health industry. The application will also be easy to build and take advantage of an already heavily reliant data society, replicating a simple to use interface for its target demographic. There have also been similar existing technologies, which can already detect certain health measurements such as heart rate. So finally, on viability, we see our application to simply match the growth of emerging technology and then the use of smart devices. With a society already exponentially tending towards reliance and usage of smart devices, it seems highly practical to foresee an application which simply leverages their capabilities in the health field. Finally, financially, there doesn't seem to be large forecasts of operating costs given the nature of the application and leveraging smart devices as a platform.
Thank you, Hawking Consulting. That was a very detailed presentation and an idea that I think definitely will work. Paige will just be channeling you guys over. Can you all hear me? And let's figure out if I can hear you. Yep, nods, so that means good. All right, great. Judges, I'll pass on to you. You've got a question first, Peter?
The user journey that you described, pardon me, I was almost cheering at that stage because the problems that you are describing are absolutely real and very frustrating. And I only just fit into the over 50 category, maybe by a little bit more, but only just, I'm putting on record. And I would like that problem solved for me too. So I want to know, how do you solve that problem? In very, not in terms of percentages, not in terms of AI, not in terms of anything, but just give me the practical understanding of how you solve that user problem, please.
Yep, so can you guys hear me? Okay. Yep. So I guess that's a really true reality that we all face, that there are such delays in the healthcare system, and I think that it is due to a lack of technology. I think that's the basis, the foundation of it. There is so much technology in our society, but healthcare, such an essential service, doesn't have much tech inside of it. A lot of the processes within the health department are still really slow. I've worked in the industry. The process within getting like NIDA claims is still really slow. So I think that would apply for more 50 plus target audience. But in terms of that, I think it's implementing that link of technology. So whether that be through a mobile device or even a phone call for the older target market, I think that we really need to implement just a straight foundational technological solution to solve the problem, or start building that solution.
Look, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask the question again. What is the, I mean, let me ask it in this way. What is the product? Is it a device? Is it an app where you do bookings? How does the problem, I understand that technology can resolve the problems, but I just don't understand the new user journey.
Yes, of course. So essentially, we came up with an application called HealthLink. And HealthLink essentially is linked to any wearable devices that we predict will be a lot more prevalent in the future. As you see, a lot of people nowadays are wearing Apple Watches, smartwatches like Fitbits. These are all really helping track things like heart rate, breathing rate, even different like vitamin levels in the body. And we believe that this can be an early preventative measure for other health diseases or issues that may come out. And then we're assuming that from there, we can alert doctors through our application. So not only can you choose to book into a doctor through your application, but also doctors can have a look at your data and see, oh, maybe there's a slight issue in her heart rate. Let's get her in for a check, make sure there's nothing wrong. And it's about seeing those issues before they even really start becoming a real symptom or problem in the day-to-day life.
Thank you.
Again, superb presentation. Love the persona and the journey. Fantastic way of bringing that problem statement to life, and then how you sort of set about solving that problem. So great presentation and great questions to follow up. You've just described the holy grail for many people in healthcare. This is an extraordinarily lucrative but highly populated space. You know, they'd be conservatively hundreds of startups in various parts of this. What you've described is something that will solve the whole problems of the healthcare system in one go. How much research have you done around who else is in this space, what they're doing, and how do you think you'd stack up against your competitors?
Yep, so definitely we've looked into people in the current wearable devices industry, but a lot of them haven't really connected to healthcare, and I think that's really why we chose to create that link. A lot of them are there to perhaps like track data, and you kind of use that data for your own purposes, but for doctors to be looking at that data first and actually understand, because they are in the medical profession and they are used to seeing those kinds of issues, a lot of us, we don't have that knowledge to know, oh, my heart rate is a bit abnormal. Is there any way to fix that? More or less, a doctor will be able to tell. And so I guess that's why we're really trying to link it with healthcare, because those doctors can prevent the disease before it even starts. And that's really the premise of what we want to see in the future. So yes, I guess that's definitely one of the competitors in a sense that we're looking at. Things like Garmin, Fitbit, Apple even, but we want to make it more in the healthcare space.
Yeah, I can add on to that in the sense that we were looking at what was already offered in the market. So we had a talk to Horizons, which is the biggest healthcare provider within the whole of Australia. And what they're implementing is with Salesforce, they're doing an ERP system, which has modules which connect these smart devices. But with looking at that and looking into the offerings being provided, they're all really niche. For example, they had aged care centres or disability aftercare. There was no one big platform that provided it to the general public. So there are offerings in the market for niche target markets, but there wasn't one for just the general public age, 18 to 50.
It remains a very human problem, which is the adoption of telehealth. We've seen with COVID that there's been a big shift, an instant shift, highly accelerated. But we've seen, for example, with the electronic health records, very, very low take from the Australian population. So how are you going to persuade people and all stakeholders, not just the patients, but the doctors, the healthcare providers, the insurance companies, that this is a good idea?
Sorry, would you just be able to repeat that last question?
Sorry, there are lots of barriers to adoption of this type of technology for telehealth. Doctors don't like it because it can put them on the spot. Health authorities are somewhat nervous about it, and patients are somewhat reluctant to share their medical records, for example, because of life insurance issues or the fact that they don't just like people having access to their personal data. How would you address all these sort of potential barriers to adoption?
So,
okay. You want to go? Okay, so I think it boils down back to the kind of idea that healthcare is an essential service. And if you're considering kind of the way we're tracking in terms of technology and how it's going to grow in the future, and with emerging technology, with the exponential growth of that, I think it's only the natural course of action that these barriers are going to kind of fall in light of this. So with the growth of with the exponential growth of emerging technology and new things coming in, new traits coming in, and new capabilities of technology coming in, this in itself is kind of going to break down these barriers that you mentioned and kind of naturally address the shortcomings that might pertain to things like patients not wanting to share their information, because in the end, I think as a society we are becoming more and more data driven and more kind of reliant on emerging technology. So we see kind of it as a natural course of action to address these barriers.
Just like to add on to that. So, just like to add on to that. As like society moves on to like new emerging technology, like data security also is one enhancing as well. Addressing the problem where the patient doesn't want to share their info with other people, most likely, like as you see in these age groups, they have like their own personal GP that they go to. So most likely the information that's shared would only be to their own GP, and that kind of gives more trust for the patient to use our application.
Thank you for that. Well, anything data-driven, I think, can feel fairly secure that it's going to drive on sort of the right path, because you're really backing yourself by facts which data gives you, and the drivers that data can create are non-comparable to other kind of drivers, non-data drivers, for example. So I congratulate you for that, being so data-centric. I also congratulate you for, I think, as it was mentioned before, how high you set your standard. I would expect the health department of Australia to be driving something like this, or the World Health Organization, driving something like this globally to create, a central sort of database for health records. And I'm sure there are lots of things that are in motion to achieve that in lots of different parts of that sort of market. So congratulations for setting your sights so high. Now, that might not be a great thing though, because what I'm struggling with is, how do you take a small sliver and implement so that you can actually see that this is going to work, and that you are going to make a dent in, creating a solution going forward, and not be sort of, stomped all over by the big guys that are out there doing the exact same thing. What is that sort of first slice implementation look like for you that's going to give you that credibility and oomph to keep going with this?
I think, like a lot of applications, what we decide to implement first is kind of a beta edition. We would kind of distribute it out to a select amount of people from the age group that we're looking at, and we'll have them trial it and give us feedback and how we can improve, and what other features they perhaps want in our application, and what they really like, so we can improve on it. I think that's a really good process, using that constructive criticism to be able to build upon what we already have. And so the beta test would be a really important step in making sure we connect doctors to our patients, and also making sure that that trust is built between them. Because I know it's a completely new process and they may not fully trust it, as was mentioned earlier. So we would love to be able to build that trust within our system and then have that spread by word of mouth.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you, Hawkins Consulting. We will now pass on to the Nash. Just in a moment, if I can just confirm, Vivian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, I can.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so I've got my team behind me as well. So should I just share my screen now?
Yep, we're going to do this. We're going to do it now. Yep, great.
Sorry, it's not allowing me to share anything that's not on Chrome. So I'm just... Yeah, okay, it's just adding to Chrome at the moment, sorry. Add to Chrome. Add extension.
Yeah, I'm like 10 seconds behind you.
Okay, so I'm going to try and share screen again. Share screen. Okay, so here we go. Ooh. Good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on which state you're in. We are Team Panache, and we are gamifying rehabilitation. We all know that exercise is good for our health and well-being, but it's boring, repetitive, and exhausting, especially after a long day at school or work. Life just gets in the way. But for people with spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA, these obstacles have to be overcome all the time. Teenagers and youth can get bored out of their minds with their exercise rehab, and many of them would much prefer to spend their days gaming. And while gaming sounds like a temptation away from rehab, we see it as an opportunity to keep them in rehab and continue to keep strengthening their muscles. So what if people with SMA could do their exercise rehab without actually feeling like they're doing rehab? Well, we are Team Panache, and we are banishing rehab boredom by gamifying electrical muscle stimulation to complement standard rehab. Electrical muscle stimulation has been shown in a rehab setting to increase muscle strength, and we would like to use it to add another dimension to a virtual or augmented reality gaming experience. So, for example, if a gaming avatar was running in a game, then non-invasive electrodes in a thigh band could stimulate the thigh muscles and simulate running for the user.
Our potential B2B customers would be rehabilitation centres and hospitals who want the very best outcomes for their patients. We will be following a value-based pricing model where the initial cost will be a single purchase or rental of already established hardware with ongoing subscription for software access and service fees. Our market entry strategy will be direct selling and digital marketing to the rehab centres and hospitals. We would also like to present our products to specialists at medical trade shows and conferences. Our customers will be a portion of the over 1,000 rehab clinics and hospitals in Australia, of which there are around 62 specifically for exercise rehab. We understand that SMA is a rare condition, affecting only up to 25,000 people in the US. However, we plan to extend our idea to comparable conditions such as spinal cord injury, of which there are 360,000 in the US with 18,000 new cases annually. Further, we could even extend to gamers who are at risk of muscle wastage as they spend large proportions of their days sitting and gaming, and there are 2.7 million of them. There is an upward revenue trend in the virtual or augmented reality healthcare market, with 2021 being estimated at a value of $2.5 billion US. We have spoken to South Australian people with SMA as well as experts in physiotherapy and rehab. There is a clear need of keeping people, youth especially, engaged in their rehab exercises because many struggle to stay motivated to do repetitive activities, even when they know it's good for their health. Further validation has come from our win at the Biogen NeuroHack in July earlier this year. It was a medical hackathon sponsored by Biogen. Biogen is a medical technology company for neurological conditions, and they were the first to develop an FDA-approved treatment for SMA in 2016. When it comes to SMA, they are major players. In the next 12 months, my team aim to continue to grow our idea and continue to research our customers and our end users. We plan to conduct specific and targeted experiments for each quarter on our potential customer segments and potential marketing channels, so that we can determine a valid and scalable pathway to market before seeking any investment. In 3 years, we would love to have our products in rehab centres and hospitals all across Australia and potentially in the homes of our end users. We would like to have started branching off to conditions beyond SMA, and we would love to start entering international markets, beginning with the US. In terms of our competition, most of our competitors fall into the medical, rehab, or gaming categories, or both, including Tesla Suit, Lucio Rehab, and XR Health, all of which include gaming into their products. But what makes Panache different? Well, we'll also be incorporating electrical muscle stimulation, or EMS capabilities, which has been shown to increase muscle. Further, we are going to be SMA focused and Australian based, which represents a minuscule portion of the global market. And while that may sound counterintuitive, this will enable us to tailor, clinically validate and test our product on a small comparable sample population on the extreme end of the muscle wastage spectrum. The data generated will create a barrier of entry to our competitors, existing and emerging, and will facilitate our expansion into conditions beyond SMA. Further, we could even go to video gamers, as I've stated before. By being specific, targeted, and efficient now, we will maximize and accelerate our growth in the future, especially when we roll out internationally. We have an amazing and dedicated team of 5 with diverse expertise in health, business, and technology. We came together for the Biogen NeuroHack, and we are passionate about finding solutions to medical problems and unmet needs. We want to make exercise rehab something people with SMA want to do and not just have to do. We want to give them a rehab gaming experience they'll never forget. So we have an ask for each of the 3 amazing prize companies who are watching on. To Airtree Ventures, we know that you have amazing programs for startups. From what you've seen from us today, what else can we do so that we qualify for your workshops and mentoring programs in the future? To EY, we know that you have extensive experience and network in healthcare and in medtech. Is there anyone you would be willing to introduce us to point us in the right direction of setting up a good foundation to our medical tech company? And to Frank, we know that you offer amazing courses to develop practical business skills. From what you've seen from us today, how can Panache qualify for these courses in future? Thank you so very much for listening, and please find our contact details on the slide. I'm going to stop share now. Thank you.
Thank you, Panache, for that amazing presentation. Unfortunately, our representatives from Airtree and Frank are not here today, but I'll definitely pass on.
Thank you so much.
For you. We do, however, have Fraser from EY, so I'm sure he'll be happy to answer your questions and for the rest of the judging panel to ask any of theirs as well.
That would be so lovely. Thank you so much.
I'd love to, Vivian, and congratulations. You're the first team that we've heard today who've actually done some research around the judges and the panels, and your ask was very specific of us, so well done for that. In terms of for EY, yes, we do have global networks. We do a lot of work with MedTech, and I'll be delighted to pass it on to people within EY, both in Australia and globally, who work in this space all the time. It's a tremendous idea. Congratulations. It's the sort of, I don't understand the science, but the fact that you've combined the science with the gamification is very, very clever. And I have no questions for you, really, only praise and congratulations for your work. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Outstanding, Vivian. Super job. I'm the same as Fraser. I don't really have questions. Well, I do have a question, and it is a real generalist question, and it's really, which comes first, the confidence or the preparation? And what I do in my work is encourage people to understand that with the absolute depth of preparation, that's how you build your confidence, because that gives you a foundation to present with great confidence. But I suspect in you, the confidence is there already, and the preparation just enhances the confidence.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No worries. I think your team's done a great job, so well done.
Thank you. To be honest, I was super nervous for this, and my team and I, we've just been running through practice run after practice run after practice run, just trying to get everything perfect. So yeah, we had to prepare a lot, but really nervous as well. So, but thank you so much for your comments.
Your preparation worked.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations to the team. You've been a great support for her as well.
Well, that brings us to the end of our presentation sections. So we'll now tally up the scores, have a lunch break, and we'll be back by 1:30. We thank all the teams today for their hard work and preparation, and we'll see you guys soon.
Hey everybody, welcome back. What an exciting day so far, listening to all the ideas that these teams hopefully can bring to fruition. I know the judges had a very pleasant time learning about all these ideas and commenting, and hopefully you can all implement these in the future regardless of the outcome today. But what we're going to do now, we're going to hand over to the judges and get a bit of feedback regarding all the presentations, and we'll dive into the prizes that are up for grabs and how the selection process will go from there.
Thanks, mate. Look, it was a fantastic morning. Thank you so much to all the teams. Obviously put a huge amount of work into those presentations today, into those business ideas that sit behind them. So big congratulations to everybody. We've really enjoyed our morning. We've heard some wonderful ideas, all presented superbly. So everybody who's pitched, we've had some small technical challenges, getting the video links, etc. But everyone's sort of worked through those really well. So congratulations to the team here on the ground who's made it happen. So Matt and Anastasia and the team, well done. Superb effort to stage this competition, and we've really enjoyed hearing those entries. So very grateful to all of you for the role you played today here on the ground in Sydney and in all the state capitals where you've had the team. So well done. Really high quality of ideas, really high quality of presentations to back those up. The judges have unanimously placed our winners in order 1, 2, and 3. We would like to give some commentary on all of the teams who've presented today because of all the hard work that the teams have put in. So we'll comment on the teams who didn't win one of the 3 prizes to start with. But please don't be despondent. They were great ideas. It's very hard in a 10-minute pitch to really understand them and to judge them when there are such different ideas and such different strengths and weaknesses of each of them. But we've faithfully performed our task, I think. So if we start with those who weren't fortunate enough to win a prize today, we start with Apple Isle and the body up concept that you had. We thought it was a fantastic idea, definitely a market for that type of informal sports body up process, and a great presentation, great strategy. We just wondered about the adoption, and we wondered, you'd need a very strong pilot test for that to really prove that there's a market for what you're doing and exactly what that market is. Sport's very broad, there are different types of sports. It may be very different in different sports and in different parts of the country. So we'd expect you to have to do quite a bit of work in your early stages to test out the proposition and adapt and iterate and sort of repeat and try again until we really hit that formula. It is probably out there, so keep going and well done.
Thank you, Fraser. Yeah, look, I'll echo all of the initial sort of preamble from Fraser there in terms of the breadth of ideas, the depth of exploratory within each idea. So the teams covered the horizontal and the vertical grounds really, really well in most cases. I was constantly asking questions when I was hearing the pitching, and every time I'd ask the question, within about 30 seconds, the pitch would answer that question. So I think in terms of having done the research, having done the groundwork, kudos to everybody. The detail level was just fantastic. I think sort of overall for me, when I think about getting something off the ground, solving a problem, getting an idea out there is a way forward, and there is all of the activity that you've got to do to make your way forward and to have progress. And I think almost everybody has a way forward and the activity and the steps to take to move forward. But one of the things that I would have liked to heard more from was what could get in the way. And this is standard risk management. So when we don't think about the obstacles and put mitigants and plans ahead in anticipation for those obstacles being a reality, then no plan forward is going to go forward because you're going to constantly have obstruction and interruption. So it would have been really, really great to have had a really risk-savvy sort of articulation as part of your pitch. And I know that some of you talked about difficulties, but it wasn't quite hard-hitting enough for me. So that was one thing that I think generally, as part of my feedback I give to everybody, think about what could go wrong and be very, very risk savvy. If I can just cover Falcons, because I think we agreed we'd do one each, Fraser. Falcons being the idea around finding a tutor and placing a tutor with a student or a learner. I think it's a great idea, and I love the fact that the team being in that world of, in the middle of that education space, they're in uni, they need help. Let's think of an idea to solve this real problem that we're all experiencing. So I loved how organically derived that idea was. I can see that the people presenting within that team have probably first-hand experienced that. So I love that. It wasn't some obscure idea that just sounded good. It was a real problem for them, I can imagine, and for many, many. The thing that I grapple with is that there is such saturation in the tutor market, and so many different organisations that are doing tutoring and trying to hit the various demographics of that market. It would have been really great to have had a real gap and a proposition around the gap identified, a niche part of that market that is not being tackled at the moment. Just because you can put technology out there, just because you can create an app to give you an interface to a service or to a business, it doesn't mean that that's going to take off. The app isn't the end, it's the substance and the strength of the proposition that's going to drive it. So while I think the idea was great and right on point in terms of what students need, I struggled with the sweet spot of how this could take off in the midst of all this kind of tutor and tutor organisations that are out there. And the other problem I have is how do we kind of think more laterally about the education system as opposed to just trying to solve the tutoring problem or the lack of tutoring? How do we address this more kind of globally? It would have been good to kind of hear some insights around the education system, why the schools are failing to provide adequate education. So I don't think that was kind of well thought out. But I think overall, great organic idea, comes from the heart, the pain is there, we can see it. So congratulations on putting that idea forward. I really enjoyed the presentation. Well done.
Thanks. And just covering off the next one, we should say before we cover the next team, that the market was exceptionally close across all of the 6 teams. We did spend a long time deliberating around a couple of the ideas, and so no one should be dismayed at missing out, and it was very fine judgment involved in drawing that line between the prize winners and the non-prize winners. So you made that comment. The one we'll cover next is Hawking Consulting with the HealthLink idea. And clearly there is a huge scope in telehealth at the moment, accelerated by the pandemic. The judge's view was really, it was just too broad a concept. You're really trying to solve all the problems of the telehealth world. We really do believe there is scope within there for you to find a niche area. You've done some amazing work around, researching the IoT and the technology platforms. And yes, technology will accelerate telehealth, and it will be for the benefit of society, but it remains a human problem. And it's a classic example of where humans and technology interact. And don't underestimate the human challenges in adoption of that technology. For those who aren't technically savvy and who don't live in your world of business and technology, the average Australian is quite averse to sharing this sort of information. That's been the history to date. That will change, as you rightly said. I think if you find a niche within that very broad telehealth market, you'll be onto something. And if you apply those really excellent research skills that you showed and your obvious understanding of the technology, then I'm sure there's some ground within that space there for you to find. So find an area and go for it. Don't give up. And that's where we'll leave it with the Hawking Consulting team with HealthLink. Definitely onto something, just need to be really specific about what that something is.
Just wanted to say before we start announcing prizes, or start announcing the winners, that we could talk about the prizes that are up for grabs. So know, Fraser, you'll be able to talk on behalf of EY, Aaron's going to talk on behalf of Frank, and Anastasia, our Vice President, will talk on behalf of Airtree, just because no representatives are here today. But if we could have a run through of those, and then we'll announce first place.
Thanks, Matt. Delighted to, as you say, sponsor and provide a prize. For one of the 3 winning teams, we'd like to provide an EY WaveSpace experience. We're running those virtually at the moment, so it would be an innovation experience for you, for the team, and up to 15 people in total in an online innovation session where we'll apply EY's design thinking methodology and framework to help you either promote that idea, your business idea, or a particular aspect of it. So we have a structured methodology that we use in EY to help innovators, to help entrepreneurs, and to help corporates. So we'd like to welcome you to that session, to be organised on a date of your choosing, at a time of your choosing, and as I say, we can accommodate your team and up to 15 people. I'll bring my my Australian, my Sydney team, and if necessary, New Zealand team to support you in that. And all you need to do is work out what problem you'd like to bring in, or what part of your business plan or idea you'd like to bring in, and we'll help you develop that.
Hello, my name is Aaron. So I haven't been sitting on this panel the whole time, and I have the privilege to represent the Frank team on behalf of the CEO, Natasha Garcia. So it's also my pleasure to be here, since I was mentoring one of the APSA teams, and watching the stream today, I was so impressed by the quality of the thought, the detail, and also the pitching in an online environment. It's really great to be able to bring all these students from all of these different states, all these different locations, are all here together. So what Frank Team is offering is a mentoring package, and we really want to focus this on. We have the understanding that all of you who are here participating, just by the fact that you're here, by the fact that you've taken this time to put in this effort, to go through this struggle, to put this together, the hours of practice, the practices upon practices, you are all high-performing students. You are students who are probably in the top 10 to 5% of all the business students and all of your different respective fields, because it's not just business students who I saw was pitching. And you have unique challenges, and what this mentoring package will do is we want to be able to help you to find those next steps. We want to be able to have you package up those experiences in a way that you are able to take those skills, take these things which not everyone's doing. We want you to actually take those beyond just those grad jobs which you see as possible, but actually go, what are some of the opportunities going forwards? So what this will look like, there'll be an initial session with your entire team, and then from there, we can look at going, how do we connect you with different opportunities? How do we connect you with different people? How do we slot you into different networks so that we can really tailor this to your success as a high-performing student?
Thanks, Aaron. On behalf of Airtree, Richard Lynn from Airtree, I'd like to read out a blurb. So Airtree is a venture capital fund with a mission to help game-changing Australian and Kiwi technology entrepreneurs to achieve their vision. As one of the largest VC funds in the region with over $500 million under management, Airtree aims to help startups from the earliest moments in their first funding round, often pre-revenue, and has the firepower to continue supporting successful companies over multiple subsequent rounds. As such, Airtree will be offering ongoing mentor sessions with a minimum of 2 face-to-face sessions to help kickstart a winning startup.
Okay, fantastic. So we've heard the prizes now, and we know who's in the running to receive these prizes. What I'll have now is the judges announce who first place is. Just before I do so, how the prizes will be selected. If you are the first place recipient, you will have the choice, you will get to choose, from 3 different prizes. If you are second place, you then get to choose from the remaining 2 prizes, and then third place, you would get that last prize up for grabs. So now that we understand how that process will go, I'll pass back over to the judges just to announce who was first place in the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Series National Final Pitch.
First place, first up. Yeah, so they can pick that
First. Okay. Congratulations, and a well-deserved win to Panache. Well done,
There we go. Well done, Panache. As we wait for the team just to jump onto the live stream, we're going to play the EY Wave Space promo video. It's one of the prizes that's up for grabs today.
Hi team, how are you feeling?
We're really happy. We were screaming before because we weren't expecting that, but thank you so much.
Not a problem. Do you guys have an idea of who you'd like to work with, or did you have any more questions?
Do you want to ask me?
Yeah, that's it.
So we loved all the companies and we love all the prizes, but we would really be grateful if we could take on EY. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, sorry. That's all good, just on them. All right, fantastic. Well done, Panache. Not Panache. Judges are now going to announce second place. So, Peter, I'll leave that to you then. It looks like you can point it out.
Thank you. The winner of the second prize is just there. It is Sway Aquaculture, Aquaculture, Sway Aqua Culture. So congratulations. All of us thought it's virtually like a ready-made business, ready to take off. And you have a really strong grasp of your content. You're able to answer tough questions. So, you know, we really think you're in great shape.
Thank you.
So Brandon, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah. Great teams, great prizes. All of them were so awesome, and all of them I'm sure anyone would be happy with. For what our next stage coming up, I think Airtree would be best.
I'll connection with Airtree as soon as possible. So now on to third place, judges.
Okay, so lucky last, and if you've been looking at your notes, you know exactly who is third place. So congratulations to Pop-Up Farming. We all, again, it was fairly agreeable between the judges in terms of making sure that this idea got into the top three. We think, whilst there was some technology problems, we had to kind of revert to the video and the sound wasn't great. The idea had a lot of substance, solving some real problems, and it really connected to the current climate of the world being, very pandemic. So well done, Tom, and congratulations. And I think I'll hand over to you now to give the prize.
Yep, congratulations, Tom, and your teammates on that third place win. What we're going to do now is play a video actually that Ray has created, one of the APSA board directors and judges today. Let's turn to the screen. Well, we're already looking at it. So
Everyone,
let's get
There's this sort of universal dilemma. I can't get in if I don't have experience, and to build experience, I need to get in. We've heard this time and time again. Many university students know about it. It is a chicken and egg thing, and it's a problem. Start to build your experience portfolio. Do that early and take the odd jobs when you're young. Number 2 is study. Experience plus study becomes a potent combination. Getting your high school qualification with specific qualifications under your belt is invaluable, and it's a prerequisite for many of the pathways. Note, I did not say a 4-year degree. I said a qualification, and there's a difference. And the next one is do extracurricular activities when in university age. Take a project, do a leadership program, take a mentor, do some web development, take taekwondo, learn a language for goodness sake. Do something extracurricular. I hired a graduate who had absolutely no experience, had okay marks, and as did 10 other graduates. But she differentiated herself by telling me that she was stretching herself and challenging herself by learning another language, and she was going to become fluent in that language within 12 months. And I loved that. Apply for the things you can do. Yes, there is an aspirational vision there. Apply for things that are the beginnings of a road towards that. Stretch yourself, absolutely. Go for gold, but be realistic about the kinds of competitors you have out there. And if you do not compare with your competitors, then you're going to have a deficiency. If a role needs a swimmer to swim 10Ks and you can only do 2Ks because at 2K level you can't breathe anymore because you're not fit enough, well, you're going to struggle because you've got some work to do to get there. So be realistic about the types of roles that you're applying for. You've got to add value today. I'm hiring you today to clean up my mess today, to help me today, to help me strategize today, to help me automate today, to help me save money today, to help me make money today. That's what I need. Shall we do this again? We're going to do this again. Let's do this again. Bye. Hi everyone. My name is Ray. Hi everyone.
Thanks for doing it again.
Hey Tom, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you all good. How does third place feel?
It feels great. It really does feel awesome. And I'm sure you can hear me now. I think I've got like the whole connection thing sorted out. It seemed to fix itself. Sorry about that earlier issue.
No problem. This means that you've been allocated the prize for Frank. So
I'm thrilled to have that prize. It looks awesome.
Did you have any other questions for Aaron?
No, I don't have any other questions at this point, but I'm sure I'd think of some in due course.
Perfect. Okay, well, congratulations to all our teams who have been competing today. We're excited to hear from you in the future of how all these prizes have benefited your startup. However, this isn't the end of the official prizes. So as of this prize for all the remaining finalists who have not placed, you will be receiving a bonus prize from Practera, which is acceleration into the November programs that explore global trade accelerations and a special business accelerator program for COVID-19 phenomena. So congratulations to all our teams today. Each of you are going home with amazing prizes, and we would like to thank all our judges, all our mentors, all our panelist speakers, and our workshop hosts who have all contributed to our long series.
Yeah, great. Thanks everyone for tuning in, all those additional viewers that we had that weren't actually participating. We hope to reconnect with all of you in the future. Hopefully we can all get back together and not have to be COVID safe and socially distanced. But for now, thank you, and I will see you in the future.